There are some types of pain that cannot be screamed out loud. It's like acid, slowly seeping in, eroding your soul from the inside until you are nothing but a hollow shell. My name is Victor. I'm 52 years old. I once thought I was the luckiest man alive. In the autumn of my life, I had a stable career, a successful son, and a beautiful young wife, 21 years my junior. But everything shattered on a fateful Sunday afternoon. I walked into my house, clutching a bouquet of flowers to surprise my wife. I opened the bedroom door, and my world came to a violent, silent standstill. I saw my wife, the woman I loved more than life itself, in the arms of my own son, the only child I had spent my entire life raising. But do you know what the cruelest part is? It wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the fact that I gently closed the door, stepped back into the shadows, and pretended I never saw a thing. Why did I do it? And how did my silent revenge begin? Listen closely, because you might just find yourself in my cowardice or my cold-bloodedness. Chapter 1: Ashes and New Life. 10 years ago, my life was gray. My first wife passed away after a 3-year battle with cancer. I was left with Michael, who was 19 at the time. We leaned on each other in a house that felt too big and too cold. I poured every ounce of love and resources into Michael to ensure he never felt lacking. He was all I had left. When I turned 45, friends told me, "Victor, you can't live with a ghost forever." That's when I met Claire. She was 31, radiant as a sunflower. The way she looked at me, as if I were the only hero in her world, melted my aging heart. I hesitated because of the age gap, but Claire took my hand and said, "I don't need a man to run marathons with. I need a peaceful harbor. And you are that harbor." We married. Michael, living on his own by then, seemed to approve. It felt like a dream come true, but in reality, it was a honey-coated trap. Chapter 2: The Serpent in the Garden. 3 years into the marriage, Michael lost his job. As a father, I told him, "Come home, son. This house is always yours." Claire was enthusiastic about preparing his room. "Family helps family," she said, kissing my cheek. "But the devil is in the details." I'd come home early and find them cooking together. Claire's laughter was bright and sharp, a laugh she rarely gave to me. The moment she saw me, the laughter died, replaced by a strained smile. During movie nights, Claire sat between Michael and me. Sometimes, her mind would accidentally brush his while reaching for popcorn. Michael wouldn't pull away immediately. Those 3 seconds felt like a century. I gaslighted myself, thinking I was just a jealous old man. But suspicion is a seed. When watered with silence, it grows deep roots. Chapter 3: Whispers in the Dark. The atmosphere in the house grew thick. Claire started dressing provocatively, even when just at home. Silk slips, plunging necklines. One night, passing Michael's room, I heard whispers. "You shouldn't do this." Claire's voice was trembling, but not with rejection. "You know we can't stop." Michael's voice was deep, hungry. I stood frozen outside the door, my heart hammering so loud I feared the family would hear it, yet I was too cowardly to knock. I feared the truth would incinerate the peace I had left. Chapter 4. The Doorway to Hell. It was a sunny Sunday in June. I told them I was golfing, but the match was canceled. I drove back at 2 p.m., my stomach in knots. I climbed the stairs, my footsteps weightless like a ghost's. The master bedroom door, where Claire and I had made our vows, was ajar, a small crack, just enough to reveal a devastating reality. My ears began to ring as the first sounds hit me, not talking. It was Claire's muffled moans, mingled with the heavy, rhythmic gasps of a young, powerful man. Chapter 5. Stripped of Everything. In the midday sun streaming through the curtains on my own marriage bed, they were there. My wife, the woman I cherished, was lying there, completely naked. Her pale skin was flushed red under the heat of the man on top of her, and that man was Michael, my son. They were entwined with a manic intensity. The sound of skin meeting skin was rhythmic and cruel. Claire's moans were raw and carnal. They were wrapped together like serpents, so lost in their trance that the world outside had ceased to exist. I stood there, less than 2 meters away. I could see every muscle in Michael's back tensing. I saw Claire's hands, the hands that tied my tie every morning, gripping my son's hair, pulling him deeper into their sin. They were so consumed by each other, they never noticed me. I saw a nakedness that wasn't just physical, but moral. The son I raised and the woman I loved were trampling on my soul in the name of lust. I felt nauseous. A wave of disgust rose in my throat. I wanted to scream, to drag them out by their hair. But strangely, I gently pulled the door shut. I retreated into the shadows of the hallway while the moans echoed behind me like a funeral dirge for my life. Chapter 6. The Ghost's Masquerade. I went to the kitchen, my hands shaking so violently I couldn't even hold a glass of water. It spilled across the floor, soaking my expensive leather shoes. I looked into the hallway mirror and didn't recognize myself. The man staring back had bloodshot eyes and a face that had aged a decade in minutes. An hour later, I heard the shower running and the rustle of clothes. I sat at the dining table, opening a newspaper as if I had just walked in. Michael came down first, wearing a clean t-shirt, his hair damp. "Dad, when did you get back?" he asked, his voice so calm it gave me chills. "Just a few minutes ago," I replied, eyes fixed on the paper. Then came Claire. She wore a high-collared dress, smelling faintly of the familiar soap. She kissed my forehead. "Are you tired? Let me cook something for you." I looked at the lips that had just moaned my son's name, now smiling at me. A shudder of revulsion ran down my spine. We ate dinner like a perfect family. I served Michael. I poured wine for Claire. I watched them act and wondered which of the three of us is the most terrifying. Chapter 7. The Exile and the Airport Confrontation. I couldn't let them stay near each other. I used my connections to arrange a prestigious master's program in Canada for Michael, paired with an internship at an old friend's firm. 2 weeks later, at dinner, I handed Michael the acceptance letter. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance," I said with authority. Michael looked at the paper, then at Claire. I saw Claire's hand tighten around her fork under the table. But I don't want to go that far, Michael stammered. Go, son, for your future and for the peace of this house. I emphasized every word. Seeing me emphasize every word, Michael had no choice but to agree. At the airport departure lounge, Claire had gone to buy coffee. I stood alone with Michael. He looked away, avoiding my eyes, gripping his bag with white knuckles. I stepped closer and adjusted his collar, the exact spot where I had seen Claire's hands clutching him that Sunday. Michael flinched, his body turning rigid. Take care of yourself over there, I said, my voice low and steady. I will, Dad. Take care of Claire for me, Michael stammered. The name Claire sounded like ash in his mouth. I looked directly into his eyes, squinting slightly, and smiled. A smile that didn't reach my eyes. Of course, I always know how to take care of what belongs to me, Michael. Even if things are borrowed for a while, I eventually take them back and put them where they belong. Do you follow me? Michael froze. The color drained from his face instantly. He looked at me, eyes wide with terror, trying to gauge how much I knew. Dad, what are you talking about? He whispered. I patted his shoulder firmly, the heavy pat of a man in control. I'm talking about your career, son. Don't let temporary temptations ruin your entire life. There are doors that, once that you've accidentally opened them and seen things you shouldn't have, the best thing to do is close them and walk far away. I hope you never look back. Just then, Claire returned. Michael couldn't say another word. He fumbled for his passport, nearly dropping it, and bid us a hurried, strangled goodbye. He walked through security without looking back once. I stood there, my arm wrapped around Claire's waist, watching the back of the son who was running away from his sin. I knew that from this moment on, Michael would never have a peaceful night's sleep in Canada. Every time he closed his eyes, he would wonder, what exactly did my father see? Chapter 8. Living in a Sweet Hell. Michael has been gone for 2 years. At home, Claire and I remain the model couple. I torture her with excessive kindness. I buy her everything she wants, but I never look deep into her eyes anymore. Every time she touches me, I am back on that bed. I let her live in luxury, but she is imprisoned in a guilt she thinks I don't know about. Sometimes I see Claire staring at her phone. I know she's waiting for a text from Michael. This is my revenge. I didn't destroy them with violence. I destroyed them by keeping them in a cage of lies. They must live every day fearing I know, or agonizing over the fact that they betrayed the man who loved them most. Final reflection. It is 2 a.m. now. I am sitting alone with a glass of whiskey. Claire is asleep in the other room. Many would call me a coward for not kicking them out. But at my age, you realize that the truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes it only chains you to eternal pain. I chose silence to keep this hollow dignity. If it were you, would you have the courage to smash everything to find peace? Or would you choose my path, living in a kingdom of lies, where you are the loneliest king in the world? Let me know what you would do, because after 2 years of carrying this secret, I don't know how much longer I can hold on.